Hi there, and welcome to another exciting episode of Way of the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka Mini Wargaming Kris, aka The Name Butcher, aka I don't know, I got no more AKs. I figured The Name Butcher is about enough. Butcher everybody's names. It's awful. Way of the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything under the sun. Usually delves into a lot of painting and a whole lot of what's under the sun, but that's kind of half the charm of the show. Really, the show is based around you, the viewers, asking me questions about painting, whatever. Asking me questions about whatever, it really is what it is, but a lot of times, as I mentioned, it's a lot of painting, and so, yeah, we try and have this program be quite informative as well as entertaining, and maybe we'll have a laugh or two while we learn something, hopefully. Maybe. Probably not, but I mean, we don't keep the standards too high on this show anyway. I can see the monkey's already joining me today. I can see G squared. First? Are you first? There's a question mark at the end of that. First? Like, am I first? I would say you're first. Ishyab011 second. Nitfink, hello everyone. Hello. Rumen Matinov, we have no life, and hello. Them Thousand Suns, though, the Thousand Sun models, those are really cool. I'm not crazy about the Terminators, but the Marines look really, really cool. The Marines, like the one Marine that looks like he might be like the Sergeant, he's the closest one on the box art. And the way his horns kind of bend, almost like the Zangor models, or Zangor? Whatever. Anyway. Almost like them, kind of has more of a bestial kind of feeling to it, you know. I like that. That's very cool. But as far as like the Terminators go, I don't know. I'm not crazy with the one with his things just kind of like shooting straight up. What are those things called on their helmets? Right? Like on the Space Marines, like the Thousand Suns, they always had this kind of hourglass kind of shape on their helmets. I've joked because I call them weather vanes, but I mean they're not weather vanes. They're not horns, or are they? Are they horns? I don't know. What are they called? What are those helmet things? You know, adornments. Like, what are they? Are they just adornments? Like, do they serve a purpose in battle? Do they channel warp energy? And I don't know. Anyway, but Airman looks great. You know, all those models look really, really sweet. Really, really sweet. And I'm waiting for some close-ups of what Magnus looks like. Because he looks huge. I mean, from the pictures you see, he's on, obviously, the big monster base, right? And he looks gigantic on that. And so I'm really curious to see what he's going to look like. Up close. I mean, you've got a general idea, but, you know, I want to see the details. Angel Hernandez joining us today. Binary. Spite you. My body is ready. But his mind does not, I guess. Johnny's Chop Shop. Sup, Johnny. Rumamatnov, nothing much. Finishing a Night Lord's Contemptor. What are you monkeys up to? Yeah, what is everybody up to? Usually I find a lot of people who are new to this, you know, they often have this playing in the background. You know, they pop this into their MP3 player, what have you, and listen to this while they're working, or they just have it on YouTube and, you know, let it play out while they're working away. And I guess, you know, I mean, I have no trouble with that. I mean, as long as we're learning something, as long as we're entertaining at least, you know, something to listen to. Hopefully it's not just background noise. You know. Despite you, I'm playing Fallout and I'm not painting my Blood Angels guilty. Hernandez, assembling Goblin Spider Riders. Very cool. Despite you, noise. Is that noise? Noise, love me some goblins. Noise. Where are we? Lost track. Thing just shot past me. Here we go. Here we go. Nope, lost track again. Man, missing a lot of comments. So, despite you, Ruben Matnov, Blake D, good morning, folks. Coffee's ready. Mini Warcrafts, hello, everyone. Kurt Krishon, there he is. Wargrin. Ghost to Starman Deluxe. Looks like the YouTube app changed again. Chat messages are way smaller. Yeah, I know. Damn YouTube, they can't leave well enough alone. They got to tweak this or that and this, and oh man, like if it works, well, like don't break it. If it works, leave it. Clayton T, what's going on? Congo. Hashtag free the gobos. Free them gobos. Let them end apartheid. Let the gobos go. I don't know where he's going with any of that, but anyway. Clubs Juggler, hello everyone. Herberderp. Herberderp. Say that 10 times fast. Herberderp. Anyway, that was only like 4 times, but anyway. Hi, Kris and everyone else. David Torok. Hey, Kris. Vito Verano Painting. There's the name I haven't written a bit. Hello, everyone. Nice to catch everyone live. Catch them live. Collect them all. Ishab, morning, Kris. Looking forward to a great show. P.S. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Then this weekend coming up will apply to. Sorry, forgot when Canadian Thanksgiving Day was. It's already come and gone. I think Canadian Thanksgiving's already gone. It's in October. What was last month? Was that in October? Whereas the Americans, we know, because basically it's the Black Friday sale. Thanksgiving, Black Friday sale. Everybody goes bananas. Even Canadians that live near border towns, they'll head into the States. And I guess even now, I guess there's Canadian Black Friday sales now too. I mean, it's the commercial disease of Black Friday has worked its way up into Canada, I believe. So, yeah. Anyway. Congo, Kris is charged with not liking a GW sculpt. Punishment is death by exile. Oh, hey, I mean, there's lots of GW sculpts I'm not crazy about. There's some that, are really awesome. But, I mean, Thousand Suns, those things on their heads. I mean, there's one Terminator, they're just straight. And they just go, it looks like a pair of upside down legs on his head. Like a pair of stiff pants on his head. Like, I don't get it. Lord Krabby, sup monkeys, sup. Ghost of Starman Deluxe at Kris. Tartaro's Terminators are the best though. I'm sure they are the best. I'm not talking about the rules. I'm not talking about the kind of Terminator. I'm just talking about Thousand Suns, even like World Eaters, where they have like the big things coming off their helmets. Like, what the heck is going on with that? Like, what's the deal? What is the deal? Despite you at Kris, will you paint Magnus? Possibly, because I'm winding down to the end of the Silver Tower box set models, which is a lot of Zinch, and now that Zinch is going to be the flavor for a bit, hopefully, revitalizes some of the tutorials on some of the blues and golds and things like that. There's a couple of models I haven't done yet in the Silver Tower box set, just one of the little Zinch cultists, and then I haven't done the Sorcerer or the big demon that came with that kit. But otherwise, the whole box has almost been done, believe it or not. Not. Michael Post, hey everyone, a long time since I've been here. Kris, I sent you an email. Maybe you'd like to look at it. Thanks. I might like to look at it. I'll probably look at it at some point. Ishab, Kris, the Conflict 49. I love the look of the models in the game. A bit expensive though, but curious if you played it, know it, etc., or anyone else. I'm familiar with it. I do like the look of some of the stuff in there. It feels a bit like Dust to me. Like a lot of the things feel like, like where are they going to go that's different than what Dust was already kind of doing, right? And so, I don't know. But I mean, Dust, nobody's talking about Dust anymore. So, unfortunately, is Conflict going to go, the same route as Dust, I mean, the whole, alternate timeline kind of thing. I mean, like, is a lot of fun to play with, but I don't know. Lord Crabby can't wait for the Blood Bowl tourney next week. Despite you, Blood Bowl. Now, how can you have an expression like that in front of Blood Bowl, yet not have an exclamation point to emphasize the importance of said words? I don't know. I just don't get it. Anyway. Ishab, crap, I'm an idiot. Conflict 47, sorry. Messed up the number. Yeah, 47, 49, 52, 360. Who knows? Either way, I know the game. I've never played it. I've looked at some of the models, and like I said, I really like the look of them, but a lot of it felt like dust tactics, and I don't know where do you go from there? I mean, you're just kind of doing the same thing. I mean, I don't know, unless the gameplay's better. I don't know. Lord Krabby, we all chanted Blood Bowl very loudly last week. We terrified the norms. Yeah, we've already got the schedule worked out for our Blood Bowl. We just need to get the boxes in, and we'll be hammering that out. I've got a few days to get the human team ready. Believe it or not, I'm gonna have to rush paint a human team. So probably either gonna try and get some quick tips out of it, or might just end up filming the whole thing. I don't know. Just so people can kind of see me just panicking my way through a bunch of because I have to get, I think, at least 12 models. I think my roster initially is set up is with 12 models, so I have to get 12 dudes done. And just a little surprise, teaser for everybody, I guess. The human team is going to be the was it the Mindenheim or no? I can't remember. I think it's Mindenheim War Griffins. That's the team name. Mindenheim War Griffins. Or Mordenheim. Mordenheim War Griffins? Mordenheim War Griffins. Something like that. Murenberg? I don't know. What sounds better? Murenberg? Mordenheim? But anyway, it's going to be Murenheim. I can't even say the names anymore. The War Griffins. They're going to be the War Griffins. So, and I'm going to do the team up in the colors of Mini Wargaming, because it's going to be this is going to be the studio team I'll be playing with. So I'm going to do them up in our colors, which is the green and gold. Unfortunately, there's a team out there in the NFL that has that similar kind of color scheme, and a lot of people like to poo-poo on them. I'm not a big fan of them either, but but I'm gonna borrow their color scheme. Like, I'm gonna go with green top and yellow pant for their color scheme. That'll be the Mini Wargaming Blood Bowl team. Maybe. No, not maybe. That's how it's gonna get done. So I'm only have a few days to get her done. Vito Verano painting, taking a break from studying to catch the show. Yay, master's program. Clayton Tate, has the show started for anyone? I would like to think so. I'd like to think we're all talking together. Jeremy Henson, trying to finish a Ball Pred, Land Raider, and 6 Devastators. Oof. Stephen Cole, hey Chris, good to see you on fella. Well, it's good to see you, Stephen Cole, fella. Herbert Herpaderp. My name is perfectly sensible. Yes, Herbert Herpaderp. Herbert. If I could do a good Herbert, I would right now, but I can't. I can't get that whistle that he does, though. Can't do it. Russ Evans, good morning, monkeys. Ronnie Sugden, hey y'all, how about those Rubik Marines? I think they're very cool. Very, very cool. Oh, crap. A whole bunch of comments went flying by. Oh my, hello. I'm lost within the comments again. Yeah, Chris, does that mean you folks have had Christmas trees up since the end of October? You know what? It's as silly as that sounds, and as ridiculous as that sounds, and you must think like, my God, there's people out there that are that friggin' stupid. Yeah, we have had Christmas trees up. You see a few, houses, and a few of the department stores. They as soon as the Halloween stuff comes down, bang, it's Christmas. It's Christmas, because once Christmas is done, then bang, it's Valentine's Day, right? As soon as the Christmas decorations come down, it's Valentine's Day. The hearts and crap are already out, and it's January 15th, And then, of course, as soon as Valentine's Day is done, bang, it's Easter. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's all craziness. Congo, Black Friday makes insane people crazier. Yes, I can totally agree. Vito Verano, I feel like the Green Knight was one of GW's best sculpts, simple yet elegant. Yeah, I agree. It was one of the better sculpts. A lot of the Bretonian sculpts were really nice, though. I like the Grail Knights. The Grail Knights were just awesome. Mini Warcrafts, there's a movie about Black Friday. It's called The Purge. Congo, Korn and Zinj helmets do really look alike. Well, they have that similar design aesthetic, right? Where they have the big... What are those things called that come out from the helmets? Please, somebody tell me. What are those things called that come out from their helmets? Like, I know, like, it must be an old kind of, Viking, Nordic kind of thing, I guess. I don't know. Because, I mean, you see the element, like, in Conan the Barbarian. Now, I realize Conan the Barbarian is not a historical reference material piece at all, but their helmets have the similar kind of things. In fact, the one guy's helmet looks like a Khorne Berserker's helmet. And I'm wondering if Games Workshop bore that look. I bet you they did. And, what is that called? What are those things called? Those embellishments on their helmets. Because they don't really serve a purpose, right? It's not like they're for catching a sword and dink, break the blade. And, I mean, you're not going to do that. I mean, who's next that strong that they can just break a blade and, dink, it's not going to happen. I don't know. Ishia, don't know about Dust. We'll look it up. Yeah, Dust Tactics is a similar alternate timeline kind of thing. And like the Nazis have like spider walkers with their big guns, and the Americans have like their Sherman tanks are they're walkers, or are they? I can't remember. It's been a while since I looked at the models. But they had like the jets, and the jets kind of had like stubby features in them. But the thing I liked about the Dust Tactics was the Nazis. They got zombies. They had zombies, and bionic gorillas. They had friggin' bionic gorillas. Top that, bionic. Other than maybe bionic zombie type gorillas, it's kind of hard to beat. Ghost Starman Deluxe. Chris is looking at the Toros Terminators and burning Prospero. Nothing on their heads except the service studs. No, I'm talking about the new 1,000 Suns. There's a whole preview of the new models: the Space Marines, the Terminators, Airmen, the Zangor Beastmen, and there was something else. Was there something else? I thought there was something else. Anyway. Like the 1,000 Sun Marines all have the big crazy things come off their helmets. Well, they all have it off their helmets, and the Terminators have it. And there's one Terminator in the box. You see it. It looks like he's wearing stiff pants on his head, like cardboard. Like if somebody overstarched a pair of pants and laid it perfectly flat, and then put that on their head, that's what that looks like. Spite you. LOL. Semantics, Chris. Semantics. You're in for some semantics? Congo conflict is better than Dust in your opinion? Okay. Is it like better rule set or what? Come on. What exactly are you trying to convince me of here? Mark Hill. Hey Chris. Hi monkeys. Hi Mark Hill. Ben Osick. Oh man, good to be home for Thanksgiving break painting some Necrons. Right on. Congo. Conflict runs off the bolt action platform, I believe. Also has compatibility with bolt action line. Okay. That's right. Conflict is off the bolt action. Whereas Dust, I don't even know what Dust's rules are like. But yeah, okay. That's right. I got you. I hear you. Kirkishon, Conflict 47, does more intelligently and realistically than Dust, as in they add tech to existing tech, so Sherman tanks with better weapons instead of walkers, which are just cool, or while cool are ridiculous. Well, I mean, you could be ridiculously cool. Congo, you said you were going to paint the human team as Steelers. I was going to paint the human team if I got picked up the box myself. But I mean, like, most of the playing I'll be doing is going to be here, and so I figured, well, do I really need the boxes? You know, I'd love to pick up the boxes myself, but do I really need it? I mean, I'd be playing here all the time anyway, and so Matt just paint up the studio team, and you just use those. And I thought, well, duh, why not just do that? I was going to do them Steelers. I mean, I could still do the team Steelers in the Steelers colors, but Lee had suggested that I do them in the mini wargaming colors, and since it's the studio team, I might as well do them in the studio colors again, because I mean, like, it's the Mordenheim War Griffins, right? What are the initials, right? And then of course the color scheme, so they'll be green and gold. I mean, I could put that in any which way, but I figured I'd borrow from the Packers just because the color scheme does kind of work, and it'd be kind of fun just to see them on the field like that, So, yeah, so they're gonna get done up in a green gold. Kirkishon, also, since it's off bolt action, you can play normal games and just add a little future tech, so you can go full sci-fi. Or you can go full sci-fi. Cool. That's cool. Ben Osnick, has anyone else had a look at paint job on the Blood Bowl orcs they have in the web store? The shading on them is so weird. No, I've not noticed any kind of weird shading. Other than those orcs are huge. Those are some big, big models. Man, oh man. Ben also said, Kris, you can say the Packers, they're not Voldemort. They're not Voldemort. Why, is that the Voldemort color scheme? I don't know. I said, but they're not the Packers. They're the War Griffins. It's the Mordenheim or Minhelm or Mirenberg War Griffins. Just because the acronym works out, or the initials. Lord of Midgets. Sometimes you see a man so sexy he has a hoodie like a tuxedo worn by a man in Las Vegas who just lost his last penny gambling and is drinking himself to death in the gutter. Whoa. I don't get it. Zeno G. Hey, Kris. Zine? Yeah, Zine. Hey, Kris. I'm thinking about sending you an email and wondering how long the queue is. By the way, your Wraith Knight looks great. Well, thank you. Wraith Knight is nearing completion. Hopefully today I'll probably get it done. Maybe. I don't know. It's wishful thinking, I think. I've actually, you know what? Here, real quickly, guys. All I've gotten done in the last little bit is the gemstones on his shield. You can see on his shield there. And then on one of the little aerials here, I got the gemstones. And I'm using the gemstone paint for that. The new stuff they came out with. I'm using that for just these little tiny guys because they're tiny. And yeah, so hopefully I get them done. If I can get those gemstones done today, then I might be able to make a showcase video for it, and I'll post that sometime this week, hopefully. But yeah, as far as the queue, we are only by the first email I'm gonna get to today is November 5th, so we're only 14 days out. So 14 days, 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, provided I don't miss any more shows. The Marvinator. Hey, Chris, just want to say I love your work. Well, thank you, Marvinator. Lord O'Midget's Purge 2 is better. The City Escape film works much better. Interesting. See, I watched the first one. I wasn't terribly impressed with it, and I really didn't feel like it needed, more films. But, I mean, people need a franchise, I suppose, like Saw. I liked the first Saw, but then they just kind of went hog wild with those, and it was like, well, okay, I guess, people want it. I mean, people are going to keep showing up to these damn films. They're going to keep making them, right? It's just like Star Wars and Star Trek, right? I mean, people are going to keep showing up to these movies. People are going to keep making them. Same with the Marvel movies, right? People keep showing up for Captain America. They're going to keep making Captain America movies. So, I'm not saying that those movies are bad or anything. I'm just saying, if people stop showing up to them, then they don't make them anymore. And try something new. Vito Verano painting. Am I saying that right? Vito Verano? Yeah, okay. Chris, could you give some tips on how to use future floor shine on your minis with an airbrush? Love the glass effect it gives. Apologies if you've already covered this. You know what? I don't think I have. I mean, I think I might have shown it in a couple quick tips. Of just of just using it, but not really kind of like, because there is a very subtle nuance with using it. And like for my Wraith Knight, I got a really nice smooth glass effect. With that, it's almost glassy, and that is like 4 or 5 passes, and I had the whole area masked off, and I was just doing just the front of that helmet, right? But the thing is I have the PSI. I'm pretty sure I have the PSI turned about 20. And I mean, there's only maybe that much in the cup, and I ease the trigger, and then just lightly just spray until I can see it forming on the surface, so that it almost looks like a matte kind of finish, and then I leave it, because what happens is the future floor shine is it's called self-leveling, and basically what happens is the little bubbles, right? Because when you shoot the airbrush, right, it atomizes everything and it throws like little bubbles onto everything. And what happens with the future floor shines, those little bubbles are all sitting all over the surface, and some are sitting on top of each other, and this and that, right? And it can give the appearance of a matte finish. But then what ends up happening is those little bubbles start coalescing, and then they start making a more of a solid entity, or collection of I don't even know what the heck it is. It's because it's an acrylic. It's a clear acrylic, but I mean, what exactly future floor shine is, I'm not 100% sure on. It smells, really nice coming out of the airbrush, somewhat, but I'm sure it's probably toxic. I don't know. I most likely bet on that. But anyway, yeah. So what you do is, okay, you just do a couple light passes, not so much that you can see it getting like. Because when you spray and you leave it on too long, you can see how it starts looking like it's starting to build up, and then also it'll start to look wet. You don't want to go to that point where you can see it looks wet. You want to just leave it to a point where it's still kind of matte, and then leave it. And then what ends up happening is it will self-level, and then it'll become glossy, all on its own. You just leave it for a few minutes, and then you come back in, put another thin layer down, leave it. And then it'll become glossy. And then you're slowly building it up. And it's about 4 or 5 layers. It'll take you probably about 20 minutes, maybe, just to kind of slowly build that up. Because it doesn't take long for it to dry. And in fact, if you have a fan nearby or something like that, it'll speed up the drying process. And it's just a couple quick passes, just like psh, psh, at a very low pressure. Not too close, but not too far. I'd say about, 10 to 12 inches away, maybe. About that far away. Spraying. Yeah. But don't spray to the point where you see it get wet. Just let it just collect slowly on that surface. And as it dries, you'll see it coalesces into itself and becomes shinier. And so, yeah. But maybe I'll have to do a video on that. And, talk a little bit more in depth on, how to build up that future floor shine, because I mean, a lot of my models have it, like my vampire. I built it up so it's like almost glass-like on its wings, almost. Lord of Midgets, Future's not toxic, but don't drink it anyway. Yeah, it dries almost instantly when you airbrush. Yeah, just when you're working in just small layers, yeah, it dries pretty darn quick. Where am I? Don't know. In the comments. Keep going back here. I'm just going to skim through here. I'm just going to see if I can see if any fresh names. Angel Hernandez. Kris, I'm having trouble with wet blending. I'm using retarder for my Vallejo paint set, but it dries up too quickly while I'm painting skin on my models. Do you have any suggestions? If you're using retarder and it's drying up too quickly, how long are you working on the area? Because if you're using retarder should slow that paint process down. And Vallejo's paint retarder, it takes about, in my experience, it takes about almost like an hour. Like you have work time, especially if you're working, like if you're taking the paint down to a thin consistency, it's about an hour you got to play with those colors like that. So, yeah, how long are you blending for? Because it should only take a couple times to blend, and then if you need to build up another layer, you come back and blend a little bit more. Unless of course it's really, really hot where you are, and it's just speeding that process up, or you're not mixing enough retardant into your paints. Now, there's a few ways you can use a retardant. You can take the retardant and add it 1-to-1, roughly 1-to-1, a little bit more paint than retardant. So it's more like 1 to 3/4 kind of thing, or 0.75 of retardant, right? A little bit more paint than retardant, right? So a little bit more paint, a little bit of retardant. It's almost 1-to-1, but it's not quite. You can go 1-to-1. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just going to thin the paint out so that when you're working with it, it actually looks kind of like a glaze. It actually goes kind of translucent, and you can over kind of thin it that way in that fashion. But a lot of times when we're blending and stuff like that, you kind of want it in that state anyway. But anyway, or the other way you can use retardant is you can lay it on the surface of the model and take your color and apply it and start mixing it on the model into the retardant, and then have your other color start from the other end and mixing it in, and you can use the retardant in that fashion as well. But when I'm talking about using it in that much, I mean, you're putting just like a little layer down, just a thin little layer down, put your paint down, But by that point, I mean, you might as well just be, two brush blending, I mean, because your colors are so close, and I mean, like, but you can do it that way. But I mean, oftentimes the best way to do it is to mix the retardant into the color on your palette, and then that way you can just draw from your palette to the model and work with it in that fashion. But as far as it drying out on you, I honestly don't know, unless it's really, really warm or windy or something like that, or unless you're blanking out while halfway through your painting. I don't know. You lay some colors on, you just nod out for an hour, come back, oh, it's dry. I mean, I honestly, I don't know exactly what could be happening there. There's a couple of variables, but otherwise, when you're using the Vallejo retarder, I mean, it's always worked great. I've used it with Citadel paints. I've used it with Army Painter paints, and of course Vallejo paints, and it's really, really great. It's my favorite retarder to use. I've used artist grade stuff, like for artist grade acrylics and stuff like that, and I've had the paint stay wet for a week. So you gotta watch out when you're getting retardants. Whereas the Vallejo one, it's a little thick, it's a little heavy bodied, but that's okay because the Vallejo paints are very thin, and so it kind of creates, it almost gives the paints almost a similar feeling to GW paints, where they have a slightly thicker body, kind of a greasier kind of feeling to them, which is fine. I mean, like, again, I'm used to working with really, really thin paints, thick paints, you just adjust accordingly, kind of thing. So hopefully, Angel, that helps. I don't know exactly how you're using your retardant, but yeah, mix it into the colors that you're using. Or you can put a layer down onto the model and mix on the model. In small amounts, of course. But typically, I get about an hour of work time working in thin little layers with the Vallejo colors. I usually get about an hour before it dries up. And it usually only takes me a few minutes to get the blend. And once you have the blend, then you just stop and leave it alone and, come back an hour later. W3 Appetin, hello all. Lord Krabby, painting a female bike chaplain. Very cool. Greenleaf Terrain at Kris. Does you or does you not lick your brush? Just lick it. Do I lick it? Well, no, I don't sit there and just, But I do draw the bristles in my mouth. And when I purse my lips, I draw the bristles. That's just an old habit. I tell people like it's a bad habit to be in, but, I do it because I recognize it's a bad habit. But, I also have a lot of other bad habits that I shouldn't be doing either, but, I still do them. So, contradiction. Blake D. Kris, I found a God link. You found a God link to some stuff on Egyptian priesthood stuff. But basically the headdress has no real proper name. Interesting. So you pretty much were looking at the Egyptian kind of stuff, right? Yeah. Vito Verano, Kris, thanks brother, I'll give it a try. Alright. Prawn Hamdens, anyone else backing the Battle System Sci-Fi Terrain 2? Last few hours just unlocked some of the new 40k style terrain. No, I'm not familiar with that one. I don't watch a lot of Kickstarters or anything like that, so, usually not, that with it. Lord of Midges, the biggest trap with Future is that a lot of people overvalue it. They consider it the miracle liquid. You can turn everything because it self-levels. Yeah, I've kind of heard that one too myself, using it for like shade washes, mixing colors into it, and stuff like that. No, I've only ever used it for varnishing. It does that job, for me, well, and of course, as a sealant between paints, when you're airbrushing and you got to seal between colors, it works great. It goes on nice and thin, and I've not had any problems using Future Floor Shine for my painting. And it does have a nice little smell in the air. Of course, it could be just tingling those last little receptors in your brain for all you know, but anyway. Lord of Midges, my favorite retarded is autism. That's why I like the model so much. Not that kind of retardant. Tolo, Kris prefers lead paint chips. More aged, the better. Well, yeah, duh. Everybody knows that. G Square, not really first. I have to go and have just returned. We'll have to watch the replay. Have a great show. See you, monkeys. Monkeys. It's like Pete Puma from Looney Tunes. Come on, everybody knows that one. Johnny's Chop Shop. Hello, Kris. I use Winsor and Newton as my first line brushes. What brush line do you use for second line stuff? All the brushes I always use are Citadel brushes, because they just get the job done. Winsor Newtons. I have Series 7 miniatures. I have 0, 00, and 000. I've only ever used my 0 and 000. I've never used my 00. And anything I can do with my 0 or anything I can do with the 000, I can do with the 0. So it's only my 0 that I use, right? And even then, I really don't use it that often because like painting eyeballs and things like that. I can do that with the Artificer brush from Games Workshop, Yeah. Not to say that don't go out and buy Winsor Newtons because they're really good brushes. They're well made, well constructed. GW brushes, sometimes you get a brush and the hairs are splayed all over the place, but we're talking mass produced, and shipped over the entire planet. Winsor Newtons, they're hard to get a hold of sometimes. They're a premium kind of paintbrush to get a hold of. Other paintbrushes that I've been wanting to get are Da Vinci's, Raphael 8404s, I believe, and Da Vinci's. Crap, I can't remember if it has a group number. But anyway, but I mean they're all sable hair brushes. They're all for in watercolor. They're all watercolor brushes, right? And so if you're in the art store and you're looking for some brushes, look in the watercolor section. Find yourself some nice sable brushes. Yes, the price tag might be a little bit much, but you're going to be getting quality item. Now, the important thing is that yes, you have these nice big expensive brushes, but are you taking care of them? So you need brush soap for that as well, because you have to take care of them. It's just like going out and buying a brand new car, nice expensive, Cadillac, Lexus, whatever, right? And if you don't take care of it, you don't do any undercoating, and you don't, take oil changes and things like that. Like, it's gonna break down faster than you can stick it, and it's gonna be a waste of your money. And so, why buy these expensive brushes if you're not gonna take care of them? You have to take care of your brushes, no matter what price point you pay for them. Take care of your brushes. I don't know where I was going with any or all of that, but anyway. Hernandez, cool, thanks, Kris. It's probably my room, hardly any ventilation. The average temperature is 90 degrees. Oof, good grief, man. Good grief. Yeah, it could be the temperature. I'm going to probably guess it's the temperature, but also, yeah, how much you're mixing. Because if you can leave that retardant on your palette, like just on its own, just squirt a little bit on your palette, you can leave it, and that stuff will take days to dry, like dry out. And if you're sitting in 90-degree weather, whew, man, yeah, it's going to speed up just a little bit. Tolo, email. Yes, Michael Post, email or a demo. I don't have the other camera set up for demo today. Of course, you guys would ask for a demo. Lord of Midges, Army Painter brushes are terrible. I recommend avoiding them. Now, see, I don't mind the Army Painter brushes. I mean, I've played with the Sables a little bit. I know they have a large amount of acrylics or synthetics, they're really fine liner brush is pretty good. A lot of people like the grip on them. They get a thicker handle to them, a little triangular shape to them. A lot of people like that, But again, it's not brushes that are going to make great art. It's the artist. It's you, the painter, that's going to make the great looking miniatures. Doesn't matter what kind of paints you're using. Doesn't matter what kind of brushes you're using. It's all in the artist. It's all in the artist. Blake D. I got a good amount of sable brushes from a local art store, and they're going out of business sale a few years back. Awesome. Yeah. Unfortunate for the store, but I mean, awesome for you that you score a good deal like that, and just just pick up all sorts of brushes, because you never know. I mean, like even like the 1-inch brushes. I mean, like, who would have thought? I mean, I would have thought that Games Workshop would start selling, 1-inch rounds, large 2-inch flat ones like this. And these are for, finishing. These are like finishing brushes. And I think these are synthetic, or are they hog hair? This feels more like, this is dusty. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if it's hog hair or it's horse hair. It's got to be horse hair because it's kind of semi-coarse. Anyway. Michael Post, set up the cam. I can't set up the cam because then I have to go to Matt's desk and pull his computer. And apparently we got other webcams sitting around here. I can't find them. Ghost Starman Deluxe, squirt a bit out onto your palette. Yeah, squirt a bit onto your palette. Yeah, it sounds dirty, but it's half the fun of the show too. Anyway, Clayton Tate, episode 138. Kris says the artist is all in you. is all in you. The artist is all in you. Clayton, are you still buzzed, buddy? I don't know. Says the artist is all in you, or I don't even know where he's going with that. Anyway, Prawn Ham Dance. Army painted brushes remind me the pen grips that used to give kids to help them write. I never liked them, but my sisters used them until they were forcibly removed. Yeah, you know. Some people like them, some people don't. You know, can't please everybody. But that's why people make different kind of product, make the similar product, but make it a little bit different, because some people might not like a certain feature of a certain brush and like the certain features on another brush. And go, yeah, that's why I like those brushes. It's personal preference. That's all it is. It's personal preference. Because, I mean, like, all these sable brushes, they're all made with the same damn sable. You know? So, Parker Gray. Hi, Kris. Hi, Parker. Lord O Midgets. GW will sell anything they can get their child slaves produced in Nottingham slave mines. Yeah, that's any business, dude. Any business that's in the business of mass production. Yeah, they're gonna look for the cheapest product that they can slap their logo to and get their child slaves to pump out, mass produce these things. Of course, that's the way it's always been. It's the way it's going to always be, as long as greed and profiteering is the norm. That's life. Herperderp. Those army painter handles are great to stop your brush rolling off your desk and getting ruined under your chair wheels. Yes, or so I hear. Hey, that's actually an excellent point. They don't roll. That's an excellent point. You should work for Army Painter. Parker Gray. Hey, Twitch community is the best. Huh? Oh, Kurt Krishon Gray is running into Twitch peeps. Oh, okay. Oh, Parker spends a lot of time on Twitch. Well, this show used to be on Twitch, but then I was, at the time, it was around the same time that Twitch and what was it, Justin TV. It was the whole switch over thingy bobber. I don't know. I was getting tired of the whole damn thing with that, and YouTube was doing this live thing, and I switched to YouTube. I could go back to Twitch. I was thinking of doing like a gaming show of just basically me cursing at the screen while playing games, for an hour or whatever. Playing Battlefield 1, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. Michael Post. I never sent pics before, Kris. Would love to send some advice. Christopher Walker, otherwise at least. Despite you, all I ever use anymore is my Ichiban Studio ones. Yeah, and those have a really nice soft sable on the ends of those brushes. They got a really nice. Do I have those here? No, but yeah, they got nice bristles on them, and yeah, they're perfectly good brushes. I think it's time for an email. Dorn Jr. To painter where retarder is drying too quick. Wet pellet? What? That sounds like that almost read like a Confucius says. To painter where retarder is drying too quick. Wet palette. Would a wet palette help where retardant? Well, I would assume. But I mean, if he's in 90-degree weather, it stuff's getting dry anyway. It's warm. He's practically cooking in there. So a wet palette you might find dries out just as fast as the retardant, and So, but yeah, I mean, wet palette, I'm sure could mitigate some of that drying time. Retardant though, I mean, like retardant, it's a chemical reaction that's making the paint slowly dry. It resists the elements, as it were. I mean, you can still speed up the process, but it just takes longer for this stuff to dry out. Kind of like oil paints. It's really what it's emulating when retarded, because there's no retarders in oil painting. Well, you can add more oil, but I mean, oil paint already takes like weeks to dry as it is. So, I mean, really, there should be things to speed up the oil paint. And acrylics dry really fast. Even artist grade acrylics, they dry really fast in comparison. And so that's why they invented the retardants, to slow down the drying process of acrylic paint. And that's just one of the things that's just trickled into our department as miniature painters, because sometimes we want to get a nice smooth color blend on an area, and some of us just aren't that fast or proficient at, say, a two brush where you can achieve it in a real quick time. You want the retardant in there. Maybe you want the retardant because you're going to do maybe 3 or 4 colors in that area, and you want to have them all blend and stuff like that. So, yeah. Parker Gray, yeah, do it, Kris. Play BF1. I'll play BF1 with you. Yeah. This goes to Starman Deluxe. 10-2 and no emails. Holy crap, it's already 10-2. We haven't done an email yet? Jeez. See what happens? I can just sit here and talk with you guys all day. But I mean, we've been answering questions here, though. So, mind your P's and Q's there, son. Tolo, episode 138. When you have a herpaderp with a retarder, you're almost onto something there. When you herpaderping with retardant, no. But see, it sounds really insensitive. I'm gonna get some autism advocacy group after me. Do you think it's fun to make fun of people like that? No, I wasn't making fun of anybody. It's a painting show, people. It's a painting show. Jeez. Lord Krabby, I feel like a Jawa now. Why, you just sitting there in a dark brown robe? Eyes glowing? Okay, let's do an email. Because apparently we're running way behind. This is from Dominic. Dominic. Hello, Kris. Here are some pictures of my latest paint job. Can you please give me some tips to create battle damage or heat effect on the hull of the drop pod? Thanks a lot. Greetings from Austria, Dominic. And so here he has a wonderfully painted drop pod. Now, he wants to know whether to do battle damage or heat. What is it? Heat? What does he call it? Heat effect. Right. So like to make it look like it was, burning into the atmosphere, or it's got battle damage on it. And I say, why not both? Why not do both? So, to create the heat effect, a few ways you can go about it. Now, you can get like a large dry brush of, say, like a dark gray or even black. I'd probably start with black. And very, very lightly, in kind of semicircular kind of motions, dry brushing the bottom portion here. I really wouldn't go past here, but you could if you wanted to, but I really wouldn't, because you got to imagine that heat's getting displaced kind of like in this line here. Imagine heat is following this line, and heat's going, and so like when you see this thing going into the atmosphere, right, it's like a little bowl shape underneath, and it's scorching everything underneath. And so you have like all this ash and soot built up underneath here, and you'd have this little bottom layer. And I would do it like I'd have these colors still here. So if you're painting this thing, still paint these things in their reds and their metals and things like that. And in a semicircular motion with a larger dry brush, just very lightly. Now, the key to the light dry brush is that you do not have very much paint on your bristles. We're talking very, very minimal amount of paint. So that, like, even if you were just to lightly pass the brush over, like, an area like here, you'd barely see any color come off. In fact, it would probably only come off just at the corner. And so with semicircular motions, you can kind of fill the area in with this light black effect. And it would create this kind of matte appearance on the area. And then again, you can come back in with a little lighter gray, and then just kind of edge, like with dry brushing as well, and create a little bit of edge highlighting, just to give it that kind of scorched, kind of ash kind of look. You can also do the same thing here with the engine. So you'd imagine there's this thruster here, and it's throwing out all sorts of heat, and you can do the ashen kind of effect here as well, just following up just that edge of the wing here. And just kind of just around this sector. I wouldn't go all the way to the very outside edge here just like a third of the way or half the way along the little wing. You'd have just this little bit of black and gray collecting. I really don't see it gathering here. You could gather at the doors, but I think really if you're going to go into the battle damage side of things, well, nothing beats the sponge method for applying battle damage, especially to a finished piece like this. And for red areas and even the black areas, I would go with something like I would take red and black and mix them together, and that would give me this kind of dark brown. But I found that dark brown is actually, I think, Rhinox hide or Mournfang brown. I think it's Rhinox hide. When you mix black and red or Mephiston red, you mix them together and you get like I think a color that's almost like exactly the same as Rhinox hide. And you apply that to your palette. Grab a little sponge. Make sure that if it's a flat, even sponge, make sure you kind of rough it up a bit. So you have this very, very uneven kind of surface quality to it. And then just lightly dab at the edges. And you can do that pretty much almost like, I wouldn't do it the entire length, but like, you imagine like these doors here. I'd imagine at the very ends of them, you'd get a lot of scratching, right? Because this very end here, it just slams down on the ground. Versus this bottom portion here where the heat was scorching, I don't see a lot of battle damage, but you could imagine wear occurring because, the atmosphere and everything is wearing against those corners and pulling against the bolts, and you know what I mean? Like, it's all how you imagine it. Even like black streaks kind of like running up, almost like little scorch marks you could do as well. Sorry, I'm kind of going back and forth here between the heat scorching and the battle damage or just the overall wear and tear. But really, like, you just do the corners and things like that with the sponge. And I've shown a few videos on doing both in the Mini Wargaming Vault. If you're a Vault member, great. Just have a look at, wear and tear, battle damage, things like that. But see the interior here, this looks fine. This looks good. I would add a little bit of chipping on the metal edges here, just to show that it's kind of like roughed up. Really, the ends of the doors is what I'd imagine get roughed up a lot. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, that interior, you have the kind of rusty, dirty kind of quality. Looks fine to me. I mean, that works as is. Oh, was that it? I think that's it. But yeah, battle damage. Nice network on the metals in there. Yeah, so again, the soot on the engines, you can dry brush the black first and then a light gray just to catch the edges, give it kind of a soot kind of look. It's kind of hard to see because, again, you do have black on black here, but again, the light gray will kind of rough that up and, convince the eye that they're looking at that. And, if it looks like it was coming through the atmosphere, again, like I said, you could give like quick little flicks up with the dry brush just to indicate like little, impact points and things like that where, like soot and fire and, ashen and, stuff like that has fallen and, that kind of stuff. So hopefully, Dominic, that helps. Again, there are a few videos I have in the vault on doing battle damage and heat damage, as well as like engine soot and things like that. Many ways to apply it as well. Not just dry brushing. Dry brushing was the first one I mentioned. It was kind of one of the easier ways to do it, but you could also do it with pigments as well. Pigments will get you a really great result because pigments will just fall within the surface and you can just, kind of build it up like that. And yeah. But hopefully that helps, Dominic. If not, feel free to send me another email and yeah, I'll try and get to it. Oh, where are we in these comments? Nicholas Allen, hey everybody, just popped in, drooling all over the Thousand Suns, being torn. I'm torn between getting them and getting some Dark Eldar. Mark Hill, episode 138, stiffness in the pants retarder helps. Stiffness in the pants retarder helps? Or stiffness in the paints? No, stiffness. I don't know where you guys are going with all this. Tolo. Retardant must be used carefully, or you will herp a derp. Lord of bitches. Mama told me not to drink retardant. Yeah, there we go. It's because I just I don't know. I just kind of I kind of like that one. You know what? Mama told me not to drink retardant. I think I'm going to use that one. Lord of Midgets, you win. You win. You win today's prize of what? Sorry, I'm just trying to navigate my keyboard here. There we go. Mama told me not to drink retardant. That's today's show, where we're talking all about retardant. The importance of retardant and not going full retardant. Codex Dan! Kris, I'm still a lazy painter. I miss your motivations. Codex Dan, there he is, buddy. Hopefully everything's well with you, Dan. Ben Ossick. Stiff pants look retarded. Ghost of Starman Deluxe. Wow, new Airman model looks cool. Hopefully we'll get a new Typhus soon. Ooh, a new Typhus. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Ronnie sucked it. Mama says retardant is the devil. Prawn Ham Dance. No competition between the Thousand Suns and Dark Elder. Going to those scarab occult in the pre-heresy TS Red. Thousand Sun Red? Yeah. Lord of Midgets, donate the prize to a charity for kids who drink retardant. They will appreciate it more. They would appreciate it more. Everybody's wawing in here right now because Senior Dan is around. I don't know if Dan's still paying attention, but I can never do a wah. I'm not going to do a wah right now. I can yell really loud when I'm angry or give my kids hell, but otherwise, no, I'm not going to do a wah. Maybe I'll do a quiet wah. Wah. Sounds like I was taking a breathalyzer test. Someone. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're okay, someone. Ghost of Starman Deluxe. See what you mean about the Terminators, though. Yeah, you see what? You see what I mean about the Terminators? How like the one, the other ones, they look all right, but that one, it just kind of like just straight up, like just like big bunny ears. They're just going straight up. Yeah, Bedasik, you'd never go full retardant. You'd never go full retardant. I need a coffee. Coffee. And so that you guys can all hear, make sure you can hear the coffee. I hate when people do that. They take sips of coffee like that. Oh, I hate that sound. It's so annoying. I give my kids heck all the time when they eat soup or anything like that. And I just, oh man, it's annoying. Bill Snell, coffee and email time, master of the brush. Yes, email time. Dorn Jr., Kris is live tutorials on certain days, anytime there is a question. I'm interested in tips for fixing small brush mistakes, like flicking some red from lenses onto Imperial Fist yellow helmet. Like a flickering light? Fixing small brush mistakes. Well, I was gonna try and keep the demo thing, wide open. Again, like I always mention it, but I mean, it's always up to you guys. I mean, like if you guys don't ask me about a demo, then we don't do one. And so this week, by chance, I just happened to forget to set up the camera for because it would be too much pain in the ass to move this camera and try and show you guys. But anyway, yeah. So next week, I will make sure I have my camera set up so that in case anybody wants to see a demo on something, live demo on something, then by all means, let's do that. So next week, okay? And the week following. And the week following that. I'll just try to always make sure I have the camera set up. Kubla Khan. Hey, hello, Kris. What do you think about the new special cards in the new Blood Bowl? Well, hopefully they're not any too different from Death Bowl, which was the old cards, the dirty tricks and stuff like that from back in the day. If they're the same thing, then awesome. If they're not, cool. Can't wait to see. I have not had a chance to peruse the box yet. So, yeah. Hopefully, soon. Because I got to get the humans done fast. I got to get them done fast. Tolo, I'm learning all things to annoy Kris with next visit. Yeah, Dan, we need to see more vids. Dan, we need to see more vids. I know you've been out and about in the wilderness, experiencing life, and not getting sodomized by grizzly bears out in BC, but we need to see more videos. Even just videos of you out in the woods, man. I mean, like, those would be fun. You know. Yeah. Just get more videos, dude. More videos. Because I miss Dan. When do you come for a visit? Is the next question, really. Lord of Midgets, I want a live demo on how to drink retardant. Don't drink retardant. Do not drink retardant. I was thinking of painting my Chaos Army of different factions, working together under the 13th Crusade. How would you make the different Chaos Legions and Traitors unique, but still uniform army? I think Black Legion works best, right? You know, making them all black, but then say, for example, they had corn helmets. Well, then the corn helmet would, you know, have like a quality of red. If they were, you know, Zinch Black Legion, then they'd be black with, you know, the blue and, you know, things like that. Probably like a dominant color on their uniform would be really kind of, I think, the thing, you know. Codex Dan, I'm editing a bat rep today. Grizzlies don't sodomize me. I do the sodomizing. Whichever you prefer, man. Prawn Hamnez, don't drink retardant. Sip it like a sir. No, don't sip it either. Jeez Louise. Come on, people. You know you don't go full retard on this stuff. Let's do another email because, well, we got to get through these emails and make sure we catch up. This is from Tavi. Hey Kris, I started collecting Space Marines as my first 40k army in 2015. As the look of their models and the fluff were most appealing to me, I also had the opportunity to get both models from 2 box sets of, oh man, what the hell was that called? The ABR? Assault on Black Reach. There we go. I knew I'd get it. That was so long ago. And Deathstorm. And first-hand assembly, priming, painting, help, and advice from a good friend of mine. Back in episode 133, I asked about freehanding a chapter icon, and your tips, both in the said episode and the Raven Guard video in the vault, were indeed helpful. Here is the result. Oh, I don't like clicking the linkies. I will click linky, but I don't like clicking linkies. Just because they end up with, like, you know, with like advertising from, like, you know, other people's sites and crap like that. Yeah. Anyway. In the end, I decided to draw the central line and build the icon up from there, mainly because I thought white paint wouldn't cover the black as well as it did. I think the choppy texture of the paint is due to the white base in the coat, the white base coat being very thick and sitting on a layer of liquid green stuff that I had some trouble getting to a smooth finish. Naturally, I didn't have sandpaper on hand at the time. And the right hand side wing looks a bit stunted to me compared to the other one, but as the shape itself is okayish, I decided to just let it be. And so let's have a quick look at it. Oh, that looks pretty darn good. There's his Raven Guard symbol right there. I think it needs a little bit more feather coming out this way, though. Like the archway is a little bit high here. I like it though. I mean, it's Raven Guard, right? You can't mistake that for not being Raven Guard. And I say good job on the freehand. That's very good. And so, where was I? Oh, as the camel pattern is, at the time of writing this, done on a majority of my models, I got to move on to other detail work. One thing that I was really indecisive on were the power weapons on how I do them. I didn't really like how traditional blue and wet blend blades look, so I searched around a guide on Daka and creating a lightning effect on the blade. The results can be seen in the picture below, with the white lines seem way too thick. Cheap brush, cheap medium, cheap results. It's one way to look at it. And overall, I'm not sure if I like the look even with that in mind. Might be the blade is too busy as it is. Thoughts? Let's have a look. Oh, wrong one. The lines are a little bit thick. There is a little too much white in the overall lightning effect. The lightning effect, I would have had the white only extend maybe about halfway through the design, and then just left it at just the intersections. Just like a little bit of white just in the intersections. But otherwise, fairly heavily white coming from this main part of the lightning bolt and then fading off into here. But then, yeah. Also, too, it is, the green on top of the metal, because the green is fairly bright, it's, I think you would have been better off staying with a dark metal or even black blade. You get just more contrast. You need more contrast there. Otherwise, because with the green, it looks like vines, right? So, yeah. I liked the fluff of the Raven Guard chapter particularly, but thought the mostly black color scheme would look too bland. Then again, the bright and colorful schemes of other chapters seemed downright silly to me back then, and still do to a degree. Hence, I decided to try and create an urban camo pattern for my whole new chapter. Pictures can be found below. Thoughts, comments, critiques are more than welcome. And so he sent them as a bunch of links. And as I mentioned before, I don't like clicking the links, but I will here. But I don't like doing it. So, click this one. Hey! That looks really darn cool. I like that. I can see it's like a work in progress, right? He said it was a work in progress? That's what I think he said. It was work in progress. Yeah. I don't know if I'd do the guns with camo. Or maybe alternate the camo. But I like just the armor with the camo. I don't think every element of the Marine has to be camoed. Because, why camo yourself up if you're going to carry this big-ass banner around, right? And so if the gun was still, say, like black or a dark gray or, something along those lines, or even had like a different kind of camo, like it was, say, like squiggly line camo here, but then say the gun had a digital camo, similar colors, but different patterning, something like that. But otherwise, yeah, that's really cool. I like that. Dang. Salt Marines. Yeah, Salt Marines look cool. I like. I like this whole camo scheme. It's pretty cool. There we go. Nice work on the camo scheme. It's very nice. It's very marine-y. Dread? Oh, the dreads. Oh, the dreads look really cool camoed up. Damn. Like this almost looks. We were talking about the what was it? The Conflict 47 and Dust Tactics. Doesn't this look like it could fit within that universe? Like, doesn't this almost look like a freaking Nazi war machine of some sort? That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, it's some sort of Nazi war walker of some sort. And he custom made his autocannon here for his dreadnought. I like the camo patterns though. I gotta admit that it looks really, really good. And makes way more sense for 40k to have camo patterns and stuff. And I like the little hints of green, almost like the techno kind of green or night vision kind of green. Very good. I like this. I approve. And so Tabby, aka Stop Picking Your Nose, that was his email. I liked him. I liked the whole on the dreadnoughts. I mean, did that not look cool on the camouflage on the dreadnoughts? I think they looked like they were right from the Third Reich almost, which a lot of 40k stuff looks like anyway. But I mean, yeah, I thought it looked cool. What about you guys? What about you guys? You guys thought, see, you guys, Marines in camo armor heresy. That's Ben Ossick. Prawn Hamdan says a nice free hand. Wings look great. Maybe try making the Raven head a bit smaller, and it would look epic. Yeah, the head was just a little bit big, but I think because he was starting probably at the top, and as he went down, it was probably his proportions had to change, and so he adjusted them accordingly. But hey, I mean that comes with practice, man. If that was your first couple tries, awesome stuff. Keep going, keep practicing. You're on the right path. I mean, it looks good. Ben Ossick, did he use green stuff to make the lightning 3D? That's an interesting approach. Is that what he did? I thought it was green. Let's see, now I gotta go back and look at this crap. Which one was that? That was the second one, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, see, the green stuff didn't really do anything. If he did lay green stuff, it didn't lay too much of a texture down. But I mean, do you really want a texture on the blade? I think a texture would probably obscure your brush work ability. Hard to say. I mean, I've not tried it myself, so I can't say whether or not it's something that was really feasible or is a good idea. I mean, like liquid green stuff. I mean, doing like say scars on a model, excellent, right? Would you do it for the lightning? I don't know. Hard to say. Lord of Edges could do with a third gray adding. A third gray? I thought there was a third gray there. Lord of Midgets, 40k doesn't use camo because 40k battles are millions of guys lining up and shooting at each other. Yeah. It's kind of like Napoleonic type battles where they all just marching up, and the Space Marines are all in blue, and the Space Marines are all in red, and marching up, and yeah. You think there's no? Do you think they've foregone tactics in 40k universe that ambushes and things like that they don't bother with? They just come attack and possibly. Ben Ossick, Marines don't use camo because they're not pansies like the Eldar. That hurts. That kind of hurts. My Eldar are red and shiny. Mine are like flying Ferraris everywhere. What are you talking about? Mine are pristine looking. Russ Evans, I like the camo. I like the camo too. Lord of Midges, bending paper clips to make lightning is popular. Yeah. Another one that you can use is floral wire. the kind of wire that florists use. Go into their shops, like floral shops, and see if you can get a little bundle of their little wires, or even go into craft stores like Hobby Lobby. I know they have like the floral sections, and you can pick up the really fine wire, and that stuff you can bend any shape. It's really small, and you're probably easier time airbrushing it. But if you don't have an airbrush, you can just use a paintbrush and just paint it, whatever, and then create your like lightning effect. Because I know, I've seen that on a few models where like the new librarian, and he's like throwing lightning out of his hands. But yeah. Ben Osick, I do like it. It just memes. Bill Snell, poster putty, the cheap way to alt to magnets. Yeah, I mean it is the cheap way to instead of magnets. But I find that over time the green stuff gets gummy. From being worked back and forth, and it doesn't go anywhere, and it's just like a wad of gum in the area. And if you ever want to, resurface that area or put a magnet in that place, it seems like a lot of work to get that gum out of that area, So be mindful of that. But yeah, I mean, like, I use poster putty when I have parts for conversion, and I'm just trying to like work out the pose. I'll use the putty then. Like when I was doing my Wraith Knight, I had putty all over the place, working head position and sword and arm, and so yeah, I use it a lot of times just for posing, really. Lord of Mage's guitar strings are really good. You can get a full set for about $5. It'll last you forever. Ben Osick just had an idea. You could use green stuff on Chaos Model to make it look all veiny. Yeah, you can do that, but it's how to apply it, because I mean liquid green stuff, it applies more like the other technicals, right? It comes out in chunks, and then you have to kind of like dab it into place, unless of course you thin it out just a little bit and then just kind of like drew with it. I don't know. I've not really played with the liquid green stuff enough to do that. I'm not a huge fan of it, mainly because it shrinks when it dries, right? Which is not really something you want as a gap filler, really, honestly. I mean, because it's supposed to be for filling in gaps, but it shrinks. And I mean, like if I, for example, I use Vallejo's plastic putty to fill gaps, and it works great. And basically, what you do is you just kind of like stucco, you just slap it on, and then you just clean off the excess, leaving that putty in that recess level with the rest of the model. It dries and it's level and it's there. Liquid green stuff, you do the exact same thing, and it dries and it creates a little divot in the surface because it reduces down when it dries. Pain. Lord of Mitch, remember when Chaos looked chaotic and not just Space Marines with spikes and bigger muscles? I was browsing the 1988 Citadel magazines the other day. Made me sad. Yeah, when Chaos, like when their guns were like melted into their flesh, and they had skulls and faces and mouths coming out of their bodies, and they were all warped and scary looking and demonic. Yeah, I remember. Oh, excuse me. Holy man, I'm yawning. I need a sip of coffee. That's good. I'm still just taking my coffee with a bit of honey. Well, not a bit. A healthy amount of honey. Whatever a healthy amount is, I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Just to kill a little bit of the bitter. I also use a little bit of cinnamon in my coffee as well. Just to liven things up a bit. Since we're talking coffees here. Let's do an email. This is from Mini Warcrafts. Hey Kris, Mini Warcrafts here. Cody. Wondering why I didn't get a notification email about Way the Brush last week or this week. Did I miss an announcement? That you were taking a break, or am I missing out? Thanks for all that you do. My Saturdays feel empty without you and the monkeys. Don't tell my wife. Ha ha ha. I guess this was more of a question directed at me rather than a Way the Brush email. So let's do Oh, yeah, here was Clayton Tate's response to last show, I think. What is bubble pitch? Here's his bubble dudes. Look good. Like the muscles are on that guy. What is that end color? Like, are you painting them green and then hitting them with, like, say, egg racks? Is that what you're doing? Chop, chop. Chop, chop. Very cool. Very nice. That's Clayton Tate's club's Blood Bowl pitches. Okay, here we go. This is from Blake. Yeah, Blake. Blake Drever. These are 1,000 Suns work in progress minis. The space holes are after I finish these guys. Sorry about the poor lighting quality. The lamp is broken. Rock on. And so here's his work in progress of his guys. How are you adhering them to the cardboard? Is that just like poster tack, like sticky tack? You're just sticking them on there? Or are you like gluing them on? I'm curious. I want to know. Let me go to a bigger square. There we go. People can see. See all these legs going. Torsos over here. All sorts of Marines ready to go. Let's look at the next shot. Look at all these torsos. And so what, you just basically just glue them on or sticky tack them onto, what's that, bamboo skewers? Is that what I'm looking at? Bamboo skewers? But very, very cool. And of course he's got another email, I believe. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. Newconcepts.com, titanium. Oh, this is the man, I gotta go through my emails a little bit more. Yeah, this is when we were talking last week about the diamond saws. So anybody who he sent me the link to the diamond saws, and these things are a little bit pricey, but these are gonna get the job done. But yeah, that's the link right there for the diamond saws. Yeah, I should go through my emails just a little bit more, I guess. Okay. All right, what time we at? Almost 1:30. We almost got 33 minutes left of this show. Any questions in the comments? Spike you, liquid green stuff shrinks horribly. Yes, I don't care for it. I agree. Blake D, liquid green stuff is good for creating kind of dirt weather effect. Yes, I would agree with that. If you mix it in with other colors and you can use it for grit, just kind of like typhus corrosion. Typhus corrosion's got grit in it as well, and it's got a great color, and it's really great for that greasy oil kind of piston kind of look, or like in the wheels, the tracks, things like that. It's great for that. Unfortunately, I think that's what, because liquid green stuff was the first thing to come out. That was the technical, right? Of the technical range, other than the LeMay medium. And then they came up with all the other, the textures and things like that. And I think that's all they did was they used that liquid green stuff formula and just changed the color around. Oh, Blake D. He uses double-sided tape and post-tack on the tutorial. On the torsos. Man, I cannot spit that out. Post-tack on the torsos. Post-attack on the torsos. Post-attack on the torsos. And he used double-sided tape for the Marines. Interesting. Yeah, because it's just cardboard, right? So, but yeah. Lord of Midgets, go faster, Kris. You're disappointing the 3 people who watch instead of just painting models to your voice. What? Go faster. You're disappointing the 3 people who watch instead of... I don't get it. I like just start talking faster, or start talking like I'm on some sort of illicit drug where I talk fast. Anyway, this is email from Robert Scott, aka Grisfog. Grisfog or Grisvog? Grisfog? I'll just say Grisfog. Dear Kris, I am a silver member, Grisfog, and I watch daily some battle reports or sit and talks. I see you're in the last sit and talk, and I want to ask you something. For many years, I played 40k and fantasy. Then I lost my minis, and the hobby fell to sleep. I have not much money, and I can't buy much, so my friends gave me the box of Dark Vengeance. At this point, I had no idea how to paint these models. On YouTube, I find luckily the Warhammer TV videos how to paint the constant of the dark. Paint the constant. Paint the. I don't know. Paint the constant of the Dark Vengeance with Duncan Rhodes. My questions: 1. What do you think about the video series and the paint job? 2. How I can enhance the beginner paint job. Okay, well, as far as the series goes and the work that like Warhammer TV is doing, I think it's really, really great. I mean, the tutorials, like those painting videos that Games Workshop produces, are really nice. They're really great quality. I wish I could produce videos at that quality because they'd just be a lot, sparklier. But unfortunately, my editing time is probably about as much time as I spend painting the models. So if I spend painting the models, say 10 minutes painting the model, I'm probably like editing like for 10, 15 minutes, It's not quite like that, but it's pretty close. I mean, I don't have all day to, and I also have to produce, a video a day. Now I realize that, the Warhammer TV series, what the heck is that series called? Tip of the day? I think Tip of the Day. Anyway, they keep them really, really short. And whereas mine, I can end up rambling on for like 10 minutes. Some of the quick tips, yeah, they can end up being, 8 minutes. And that's not really kind of a quick tip, right? I mean, it's kind of just a regular tip. And yeah, whereas the Games Workshop videos, they're pretty strict on keeping it around the 150 mark, 2 minute to 140, I think. And which means that I don't know if he's editing them or if he just films it and an editor comes in and edits and but otherwise, yeah. I mean, for me personally, I mean, I'm the one who's filming my videos and I'm editing my videos and getting them ready and scheduling them and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm one man operation at this point. But I think their videos are great. There's a lot of people who who can benefit from watching those videos. I mean, because a lot of people look at the box art of Games Workshop models, and they want to emulate that. I mean, when I was younger and I saw the box art for models and stuff like that, I wanted to paint just like the heavy metal guys. I wanted to paint just like that. And that's why today, I mean, like Mike McVeigh heavily influences my painting style. I mean, his work with Games Workshop was great, and his painting style was really the style that I learned to. So, yeah. But these new series, I mean, they're geared towards newer people, right? And they're to show that, a very easy way to achieve a very similar result. And even the miniatures on the box art, they're not Golden Demon standards. They're not a really high standard. Before, you used to see the models painted on the box art. They were painted to a high standard, but, not unachievable, but a really high standard. And now the box art models are painted to an achievable standard for anybody who's relatively new, which is the big selling point. They don't want to turn anybody off by looking at the box art and then looking at their model and going, "Oh, I can't paint like that." They want to be able to encourage people to be able to. You can do that. You can paint like that. It's very easy. So yeah, I think the series is a good series. And the paint jobs, I mean, they serve their purpose. They serve their purpose for what they're for. Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. 2, how can I enhance the beginner paint job? Start busting into newer techniques. Wet blending, 2-brush blending, using retardants, feathering, mastering the dry brush, even mastering glazing and layering and, all these things, mixing your colors, all these things, will greatly enhance your painting. All these things. It's really about technique, really, and one of the finer things that comes later on as you mature as an artist is your use of color. That's when you start, when you're used to all the techniques, but it's really your use of color that really is what's impressive. And when you start mixing your own base colors out of blue and green, and with a hint of yellow in it, and just a spot of brown, and just to create this off tone that people go, where did you get that color from? And they're like, I just made it up. And and how to color balance that color with, say, a magenta with an orange, and things like that. Like, these are just things that off the top of my head. I mean, like, I'm just talking like a bit of color theory here, but I mean that's really when you start really kind of accessing those higher functions and becoming a better painter. It's not so much the technique. It's your technique with color. It's your knowledge of color. So hopefully, Robert, that answers your question. Hopefully. If it didn't, well then, too bad. Back to the comments. Where am I? Ben Ossick, sounds like he's not a native English speaker. No, I think it's translated. But that's fine. Yeah, got through it. I think I got the gist of what he was talking about. Yeah, missed it too. Yay, I can watch the show again. I have returned. Well, welcome back. You missed it too. 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 Ben said, Kris, there is a 0 chance that Duncan Rhodes edits or films his own videos. He just paints. Right. I mean, sure. I mean, it would make sense that there's somebody there who's painting. There's probably there could very well be an assistant who's also help painting the models, and they probably have a schedule of what they're going to show, so that they can properly prepare, very efficiently, their models and what they're going to show. Because again, those videos, they're all in that less than 2-minute category, which means right now they've got a formula at play on how long those videos are, on how much it costs them, to have Duncan on the camera, to have somebody working the camera, somebody editing the footage, possibly any other assistants helping them with assemblies and base coatings and in between phases and things like that, right? So but I mean, if it's entirely Duncan filming those videos, well then, again, he must be a dedicated man, because I mean that's a lot of work, even through a multicam edit like that. It's not too difficult, but it's a bit of work to get through. So either way, they are good videos. I like the videos. I watch them every day, and they're not teaching me anything. Not that I already knew or anything like that. I mean, because really all it is just he's just showing a lot of color usage, what colors to use. Not the whole technique heavy, other than using the edge highlighting and stuff like that. He doesn't really go into a lot of wet blending or anything like that. Again, because like I said, they're keeping these videos relatively newbie friendly, and that's good, because there's not a lot of stuff out there that is new person friendly. Spite you, Kris. Did you see the Crystal Brush winners this year? I was inspired and horribly disillusioned at the same time. Yes, I was at Adepticon this year, and I saw the Crystal Brush. I even actually had a model of the Crystal Brush. I didn't think it was going to place or anything like that, but I just threw it in because, why not? And yeah, I did see the winners, and I liked them. Oh, you should. The Crystal Brush stuff, I mean, not even just the winners. I mean, like, I tried to capture, like, I took pictures and stuff like that of a lot of the pieces, and there was a lot that was inspiring, and it didn't even place. They didn't even get a second look, and there was just some really great pieces out there. But yeah, what exactly judges are looking for? Who can say? It differs. Even like with Golden Demon, it differs year to year. It's never the same criteria, which doesn't make a lot of sense, right? But then again, critiquing art is subjective, right? Now, you can't imagine taking Renaissance artists, Raphael, Leonardo, putting their works side by side, even in the same medium, and judging them accordingly. Which one's better, which one's worse, which one should take a first place. You can't imagine that. Why? Because it's art. It's true art. You can't define true art. Because it's constantly expanding, constantly evolving and changing, and aesthetics change, and changes with society, changes with the times, and just you can't do it, right? And so year to year, what are the judges looking for? I have no idea. Whatever catches their eye, whatever technical skills they're seeing, color usage. I imagine these are the things that they're judging the piece on. Originality, composition, things like that, I would imagine. But yeah. But don't get disillusioned by the pieces too. I mean, people who enter the competitions, they've painted for a long time, and those pieces they've worked on for a long time. Put a lot of hours in, a lot of love. Jesse Patton, thanks. Normally listen to these while at work. Thought I'd join in this ridiculous or awesome comment section. Yeah, normally you don't get to see. Before the first couple episodes of this, when I switched over to YouTube used to keep my comments, and they would appear, and you can kind of follow along. But then they made some stupid change, and they dropped the comments, and it's saddening because like there's some really great advice that oftentimes pops up in the comment section from the monkeys, and we don't get to share it, so, which is kind of poo poo. Yeah, where am I? Ben Osset, Kris, when was the last time that someone introduced you to a painting technique that was totally new to you? I honestly don't know. I mean, not that I I'm not saying that I know it all or anything like that, but man, it wasn't so much a painting, like it wasn't a technique. It's always more the use of color, that I find very interesting. That I'll go, oh yeah, that's a very nice combination. Ooh, that's a great way to shade that, or something like that along those lines. But as far as like a brush technique, no. There's really not a whole lot. I mean, airbrushing, sure, airbrushing. Somebody can show me something different for that, and I'll be yeah, that looks cool. Or that I would never have thought of that. Use that as as a mask. Man, that's great. Things like that. So yeah, okay. Here for a good example. Here's a good example. Airbrushing. Watching Lester, Awesome Paint Shop, right? Watching his channel, because I watch his channel, and he was using a scouring pad as a mask to diffuse the paint and create some real kind of smoky effect. He was working on the Vampire Counts thing or other. It was like the ghosts and stuff along the sides. Anyway, he wanted to get this really kind of smoky appearance on the wisps. But I mean, you don't want to just hit it with an airbrush and flat, because it just gives you a cartoony kind of look. Whereas he took a scouring pad, spread it apart, and then sprayed through it, and got a really kind of smoky like look out of it. And I thought that was great. I thought it was an excellent idea, and I borrowed that idea. And every time I'd shown it that idea in a video, like in the Mini Wargaming Vault, I always said this is one I borrowed from Lester, because I borrow it all the time from Lester, because it's a really great idea. And yeah, now I don't know if he made it up or if he borrowed it from somebody else, but either way, that's where I got that idea. So you'll probably see that one like on a few videos in the vault. I think Nagash, I do it to Nagash. His little ghosts that whisper around him, I did it to his ghosts. I think I did it for the Celestin Prime. Celestin Prime, is that what he's called? From Age of Sigmar, and the little thingies that are spinning around him. See you later, Tolo. Yeah, so that's probably the last thing I can really kind of think of that I was kind of like, I'd never seen that before. That was really, really cool. And yeah, I'm gonna borrow it, because always remember, and I've always loved this quote. You know, I believe it was Salvador Dali. Or was it Picasso? No, I think it was Salvador Dali. It's great artists borrow, or no, good artists borrow, great artists steal. And borrowing an idea, you know, is like, well, I borrowed this idea from this artist, and you know, oh yeah, okay, great. You know, anyway, I incorporate this idea, and borrow them. Okay, but when you steal it, it's completely different. Now, when you steal it, it's not like you're malicious and like, ha ha ha, I stole it. It's my idea. No. But you've taken their idea and you've made it your own, and you've incorporated it into all your techniques, and you've made it your own. That's stealing it, right? That's taking that idea and stealing it and making it yours. Not borrowing it and saying, well, yeah, I did this kind of technique, which was just like Lester's, you know, I just did the same kind of thing. But it's taking it and then doing something with it that's unique to you and truly stealing it. That's the great artist. That's different. That's what I've gotten from that quote, anyway. Oh, man. Anyway. I need coffee. Coffee. How much time we got left here? 13 minutes. Oh, my gosh. 13 minutes and counting. Do we got time for another email? This one's kind of a long one, too, but I think we'll do it. Comments? Spite you. I thought the one that took first place was amazing because it was transcending the medium. The first thing you thought was when you saw it, when the emotions it invoked, and I had to say, you define art. And that's how you define art. Yes? Oh, yeah, definitely. Again, I mean, it's hard. Good art is hard to put a label to, right? So, Karsten Rawi 26. Is that Karsten? Anyway. Hey, Kris, I asked about the glitter effect in the last sit and talk, and I just wanted to say thank you. I had watched the quick tip you mentioned, but it had totally slipped my mind. Well, there we go. So, good thing that you went back and checked out that video, and, you know, again, with the quick tips, you know, the quick tips are getting to the point. They're not there yet, but they're getting to the point where, holy crap, Justin, what did you have? Oh, no. Justin's showing up here with a machine gun. I think he's gone postal. Anyway, yeah, the quick tips are getting to the point where, you know, it's just, you know, finding something new, you know. And oftentimes with the quick tips, I often have to create something new for the video, right? Because, I mean, there's only so many ways I can show how to paint white or shade white, paint black, highlight black, you know. There's only so many different ways, and yet I've tried to create many variations on the same thing, so that somewhere somebody finds, says, hey, I like that idea, and that one's not so much. That one's easy to do. That one's not so much. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So, yeah. I think the Bob Ross quick tip might be amusing. Yeah, I've been meaning to do a Bob Ross kind of quick tip video. Just, you know, haven't gotten around to it yet. Justin.
What?
Come here. Just okay. Look at this. Jeez.
We have a heavy bolter.
We have a heavy bolter. Where's the trigger here?
Jeez.
Oh, at the end. Okay, here we go. Look at this thing. Oh man. There's your thumbnail right there. Man, oh man, this thing's awesome. Oh, it's you got an upper handle up here. I like it. Cool. Oh, man. I don't even want to know what you paid for that.
$80.
I said I didn't want to know.
Now you do.
Spike you. Holy shit. Yeah, holy shit is right. It's heavy too. Listen very carefully. You can hear it going off. Anyway. The arms race is building for another Nerf war, I think. Where am I? You missed it too. I always thought Bob Ross was creepy and crap the comment flew away. Bob Ross was creepy and I never liked him. Bob Ross, in like my opinion, I mean, like, you know, as far as technique goes, he's really one of the great ones. As far as, you know, artwork, it never challenges you. It doesn't challenge you, and that's the kind of artwork he created. It was never meant to challenge you. Like him, he just wanted to be peaceful. And so, you know, it's really an instance of art reflecting the artist kind of thing, right? It's not something controversial. You know, it's not like he had, you know, bombers and dead babies in the foreground, and, you know, then fire, and, you know, demons, and, you know, I mean, like, he didn't have any of that kind of crazy crap in his paintings. I mean, none that, you know, was commercial. I mean, he might have had, you know, his private collection, which is probably disturbing. I don't know, but yeah, maybe how he wanted to see the world, maybe just what he wanted to see, you know. But anyway, Mad Cow Crazy Bob wanted to teach you that anyone could be an artist. Right, anybody can be an artist, and that's the truth. Anybody can be an artist, because to be an artist, all you have to do is express yourself, and luckily, there's many art forms where people can express themselves, right? Through painting, through song, through dance, through, you know, performance, through cooking, through, you know, woodworking, you know what I mean? Like, there's many ways in which, you know, people can express themselves. And yeah, that's an artist. Blake D. Bob Ross's show would have been different. Would have had a much different tone if he painted Slanesh forests. Exactly. If he was all into hentai and tentacle porn and stuff like that, like if Bob Ross was all about that stuff, you know, the Bob Ross show would have been a completely different thing. So, yeah. You missed it too at Kris. It has nothing to do with about his art. My mom watched the show all the time when he was alive, and I was a young kid, and I was just creeped out by him. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, there's people I find creepy. You know, like, hey, he's a perfectly normal guy. Yeah, he's still creepy as hell to me. You know. I go crazy. Bob Ross is to art what Herbert is to Family Guy. I don't know about that. I don't know about that because, I mean, Bob Ross, if you just watch Bob Ross's show just for his brush technique, you can learn a lot. Even as a miniature painter, you can learn a lot. But as far as, you know, composition and, you know, color usage and stuff like that, well, you know, it's the same colors, same compositions, it's, you know, it's the same stuff. But if you're watching for his technique, that's something else. There's something there. There is stuff there. Because oftentimes Sundays I'll chill out and I'll watch Bob Ross for like 2-3 hours, zone out and just watch Bob Ross. And it's like, oh, that technique. Yeah, I remember that technique and using that. And yeah, and then realizing that's exactly what we do in miniature painting. We use this technique and that, and we do this. And it's this kind of brush motion. And, but, all that stuff. Anyway, okay. Email. Last email, 5 minutes to. We can do an email. Last email. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, this is from Tyler. Hi, Kris. Just started tuning into Way of the Brush recently, but man, I have missing out. Man, I've been missing out. That's what it is. Great show, and thought I never have a chance to watch live. It's been my go-to video when I sit down and paint during the week. Started building a Horus Heresy Blood Angels army last week when the Betrayal at Kelth set dropped, and I'm about 4,000 points now. Holy crap. Would never have gotten them done without your quick tips on how to paint the Heresy era Blood Angels, so I can't thank you enough for doing those. Well, you're welcome. Thank you. Anyway, wanted to send some pics of my most recent stuff I painted. Got an Assault Squad Chaplain, Primus Medicae, Legion Champion, Master of the Signals, and Praetor on a jet bike done in the last couple weeks. Man, that's more than I've ever gotten done in the last couple of years. No, I'm just kidding. Kit bashed most of the officers from the Betrayal at Kelth box, plus the Sanguinary Guard box, and even some Stormcast Eternal bits. Interesting. I'd never painted anything like that in my life before, and I started painting 40k Blood Angels a couple years ago, and I don't have an artistic bone in my body. I'm living proof that with the help of the quick tips, anyone can learn to paint miniatures. There's an advertising selling point right there. That he's living proof that with the help of quick tips, anyone can learn to paint miniatures. At least to tabletop standards. If you have any advice on how to improve these guys, that would be fantastic. Thanks again for everything you do and the rest of the Mini Wargaming team does, and keep up the great work, Tyler, New York. And so let's have a look-see at his Model Z's. Anyway. Nice transition on his sword. Very cool. Nice solid red. I think a shade wash to help separate some of these armor plates and things like that. It's a nice smooth finish though on that red. Is it done by hand? It is done by hand. So I can see the brush strokes. But very nice. Mold lines. Clean up your mold lines. But yeah, nice blend on the sword. Very nice. Very nice work. Good stuff. Upper view. Like the addition of the bits. Nice and clean. Nice clean defined edges. I really like that. I realize that, if you're not going to get into the highlighting, at least be clean with your paint jobs. And that's exactly what he's doing here. Although he's doing some blending here. Like, is it a wet blend? Hard to say. It's kind of pixelated. Can't see if it's a wet blend, or if it's just a glazing, or what have you. This has got to be the Medicae. Very nice. When you get into areas like this where you shade wash and you kind of have these kind of like puddles everywhere, come back in with your base color and reestablish some of those areas, just to kind of clean it up a bit. Everybody's got these big gigantic swords. Like how is he supposed to help anybody if he's got this big gigantic sword and a big gun? Very nice. Holy moly. Big swords again. Big sword. Oh, okay, see now this one we can see he's layered the highlights in. You can see the transition of color, which is very nice. Again, nice and clean. Well-defined edges. Yeah, we got a bit of edge highlighting going on. Again, as I mentioned before, come back in with your base tone. just kind of clean up some of these points, where you have like the shade wash just kind of gathers in some area, big broad areas, and just kind of, basically it looks like a big coffee stain on the model. I mean, if you really don't want that, then, get rid of it. It's like a chaplain, I would assume. See the chaplain because he's all black. Very nice. Another one would be to use Inky by Darkness to begin your highlights. For the edges and stuff like that. If you don't want to do the gray scene.
No, I haven't showed it off.
Yeah, there'll be no shooting of Kris on live TV.
Like any at all?
Any at all. 0. Really nice work. Nice and clean. You just hear that gun.
Yeah.
Really nice stuff.
Nice.
Decals. Good way to get to hide those is, of course, apply a varnish on top. Take like Lemaine medium, you can lay it right on top, and it'll give a matte finish to that. Of course, it may become apparent that this was a matte varnish, and the rest of the model hasn't been varnished. So you might want to start getting into the habit of varnishing your models. But again, very nice. Little communicator on top. These guys look good. Nice solid red on the bodies and the legs and everything. Pretty darn good. Yeah, I like them. Is that it? That's it. That's it for the email. Thank you, Tyler, for sending that in. Really nice work on those Blood Angels. And I'm glad that you got something out of those quick tips to help, get them done. And, of course, disguising those decals, transfers, whatever you want to call them. Use a bit of Lemaine medium and just apply that over. When you're laying the transfers onto the model, there are quick tips on doing transfers. You might have to dig a little bit, but otherwise, really the best way is gloss that shoulder pad, put the transfer down, and let the gloss dry, of course, right? Put the transfer down, make sure it sits nice and even, let that dry, and then you can come back over it with a gloss and then a medium, or you can just come right over Lemaine medium, come right over it and seal it. Of course, you can also get yourself some decal solvent and some decal set. Definitely get yourself a set solution anyway. I use Walther's all the time. Basically, it just melts the transfer right to the model surface and just gets rid of any of those little crinkles and stuff like that, and it just melts to the surface. It's really, really great stuff. So I think that's it. Lord of Midgets. Kris, your dinner's ready. Stop playing with your toy soldiers and come eat before it gets cold. Damn good advice there, Lord of Midgets. So if you have any questions, comments, you want some help on a color scheme, you want a critique on your model, you want to, maybe you want a little bit of help in direction of color usage, what have you, send your questions, comments, emails to Kris@miniwargaming.com. Be sure, it's in the description below, be sure to send pictures, because the picture is worth 1,000 words, but also send pictures as attachments, because as I mentioned earlier in the show, I don't like click on the links because, again, sometimes sites have ads and stuff like that, and they don't have anything to do with this channel, and so I don't like doing it. But today I just took the chance and played with it, and it was fine. So anyway, Kris@miniwargaming.com. Again, send your questions, comments too. Join us on Facebook, Way of the Brush. Just it's in the description below. And join us there as well. T-shirts, Way the Brush, if you want to look nice and manly. A connoisseur of all things artistic and good in this universe. That is a definite way to show your appreciation for that. And, of course, it helps old Kris out as well. And, the handles. Handles will be coming out soon enough. Just haven't gotten around to making any. But that's it. I think that's it. We're done. We're done. Hopefully we learned something. Hopefully we had a few laughs. But otherwise, yeah, we'll see you guys next week in episode 139. Take care of your brushes. They'll take care of you. And I will see you guys later on. Later on. I don't know what I'm talking about.